right, let's dive into United Airlines' latest earnings report because they just had a third quarter for 2025 that really turned some heads. Despite a pretty bumpy market, they put up some numbers we've got to talk about. So let's just get right to the big one.
Here it is, $2.78. This is the number that really got Wall Street talking. It's their adjusted earnings per share, and look, it didn't just meet the forecast, it absolutely blew past it. So what does a number like this actually mean for the company?
Well, real quick, earnings per share, or EPS, is basically a company's report card. It shows you how much profit they're making for every single share of their stock out there. A higher number is almost always a good thing. It's a huge signal of strong financial health. And right now, United is signaling they're in very good shape. So yeah, that strong EPS figure, it really sets the scene for what turned out to be a major success story this quarter. In a pretty tough economic climate, United didn't just hang on, they actually thrived. And it's not just about that per-share number. I mean, look at the total net income, almost $950 million in straight-up profit. That shows some serious financial muscle and a real knack for navigating the chaos of the airline industry. Okay, so we know they had a great quarter, but how? Where did all this success actually come from? Let's peel back the layers and decode the financials a bit. It all starts with this massive number, $15.2 billion. That's their total operating revenue for just 3 months. Now that's up 2.6% from last year, which is solid, but the really interesting part is where that extra money's coming from. See, the growth isn't spread out evenly. It's heavily concentrated in these really high-value spots. Loyalty program revenue shot up 9%, and premium seating is up 6%. This tells you they have a very clear strategy. Focus on loyal, higher-spending customers. It's a smart way to insulate themselves from those brutal price wars you see in basic economy. But, for the full picture, we have to point this out. Even though United totally crushed its forecast for this quarter, their adjusted net income was actually down 16.5% compared to the same time last year. Now, this just goes to show you those bigger industry problems like higher costs are still out there. They planned for them really well, but they couldn't dodge them completely. So that brings us to the why behind these numbers. A huge piece of United's game plan is this massive investment in the actual customer experience. The bet they're making is pretty simple. If you make customers happy, they'll become loyal, high-value customers who keep coming back. And when I say massive investment, I mean it. They are putting serious money where their mouth is. In 2025 alone, United has poured over $1 billion directly into improving the passenger experience. And that $1 billion isn't just some number on a spreadsheet. It's stuff you can actually see and use. We're talking way faster Starlink Wi-Fi on planes, brand new seatback screens rolling out on most of their domestic fleet, and yeah, even better food. So, is all that cash making a difference? Well, the numbers say, yup. Customer satisfaction scores have jumped a huge 15 points since 2022. That's a pretty clear line connecting that investment directly to happier passengers. And get this, they're not even close to being done. United's already planning to spend another $1 billion on customer upgrades next year. This really shows that focusing on a premium experience isn't just a temporary project for them, it's at the very core of their long-term plan. But, great Wi-Fi and nice seats don't mean a thing if your flight is always late or gets canceled, right? So United is backing up all that customer investment with some seriously impressive operational strength. Just look at these Q3 numbers. They are wild. United ran its biggest schedule ever, with almost 3,000 flights carrying over 427,000 people every single day. And they did all of that with their lowest cancellation rate for a third quarter on record. That's what you call reliability at an incredible scale. And they're not just flying more, they're flying to more cool places. For 2026, they're continuing this huge international expansion, adding new spots in Europe that people are really excited about. And all that expansion has led to this. United is now, officially, the biggest airline flying across the Atlantic Ocean. Being a top dog in such a critical international market, that is a massive strategic win for them.
So, with a stellar quarter in the books and a really clear strategy, the question is, what's next? Let's look to the future and try to balance their optimistic forecast with some of the real-world challenges that are definitely still out there.
After a report like this, you might think it's nothing but clear skies ahead for United, right? Well, in the airline world, the answer is always a little more complicated than that. On the one hand, the company's own outlook is incredibly bullish. They're predicting even higher earnings and record revenue for the next quarter. But on the other hand, the market is still kind of nervous. The stock actually dipped a bit right after this great news, mostly because investors are worried that if the whole economy slows down, even a strong airline like United is going to feel the pinch. And that leaves us with this final, really big question. United is betting its entire future on this strategy of premium service and customer loyalty. But can that focus on luxury, on experience, can it truly shield an airline from the unavoidable turbulence of the global economy? That right there is the multi-billion-dollar question they're trying to answer.